Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking, and welcome back to another episode of... You know, I think back to when My Street first became fully cinematic all the way through. You know, like we stopped having scenes in any given episode that that had the single player mode with the NPCs there and the command block text and everything, the old way of filming it. And as soon as that happened, we were left with essentially almost just what used to be the cutscene equivalents, but they of course became the full cinematics and the full episodes that we would know even to this day from Akmau's MCTV content. That being said, that reduced the length of the episodes by about half, maybe like 0.75%, not 0.75%, 75%, 0.75 times the total is what I meant to say, of the runtimes they used to have, because a lot of the stretching of that runtime was because of that single player filming style. Gacha seems to have the opposite thing happen. When a non-voice acted show, not to say that wasn't voice acted, but you know, when a show goes like full voice acted Minecraft, that's what tends to happen. It tends to be reduced in runtime. When a show goes from completely non-voice acted to voice acted in Gacha, from what I've seen, the runtime tends to increase. Case in point, Tamsin's plan to do the Life of Tripop and Trust Pop season finale as a voice acted project, and they just got longer and longer to the point where the last reported runtime that she publicly gave was something around 50 minutes. To which I think, like, how and why? That is longer than the rest of the entire season and any other public runtime of Tripop and Trust Pop up until that point, given that 2 seasons were deleted. I still wonder about that to this day because it hasn't come out, so I haven't been able to actually see it. But it does seem that, you know, that adding voice actors increases runtime in Gacha versus decreasing it in Minecraft until there's some compensating time. And it seems like My Tiny Human underwent something similar. This is the first episode that is voice acted, and it is also the longest we've got to thus far, clocking in at 20 minutes when the average for the other videos is just over 10. So I'm wondering why that is. Is it because of the voice actors, or is it because the story specifically facilitated like having that runtime anyway? It was just a complete coincidence. But of course, more curiously, whether or not the voices we've been doing up until this point for the characters are in any way reminiscent or remotely similar to what was selected for the official cast. That's just a personal curiosity of mine. The rest of it is, you know, legitimately impacts the story and criticism. So I guess we'll go ahead and check this out now, because that's what we're here to do. My Tiny Human, Episode 8. Hope someone's watching. Someone is indeed watching. Us. So without further ado, on with the review. Oh yeah, this is still part of it. Okay, there we go. Wait, I just realized there are 3 Kind Master logos now. I'm just seeing obviously like 1, maybe 2 at a stretch, but 3? That could either be a good thing or a bad thing. Good thing because it might mean that multiple renders were taken to make something work properly. Potentially, maybe we're going to have some lip syncing that required a specific like extra render or something to that effect. I don't know. Or it could be a bad thing because, once again, it's not a thing that's been corrected. I don't quite know, but I guess we're about to see. Depends on like what the the judgment call will probably be the aspect ratio and what the impact of this has on the overall video. So I guess let's find out. Okay, not too bad so far, but also now has 4. We've gone up to 4 now. Was the black void the 3, and then the 4th one is like behind it now for like the rest of the image? Then what are the other renders? That's what I want to know. All right, well, I guess we'll see. I almost read this line out loud, but apparently, again, if this is the video where it says, you know, voice acted in the title, so I'm gonna go by that. Let's see. Not getting the voice acting so far. Do I have to check the link? Do I have to check to see if this is actually... Yeah, no, it says My Tiny Human Episode 8 helps with watching voice-acted Gacha Club series. And it even has like the credits, like it has the actual credits in the description, even though this isn't even like the original upload. Which kudos for getting those, by the way, Poised Boba. That's a nice detail there. So why? Or is this the flashback part? And that's why it's not voice acted. Okay, maybe that's why. Nope, still not hearing any lines. Why am I not hearing lines? I don't know. Really thought you could escape and just waltz back here freely? Daisy, we can work this out. Credit for my projects, maybe? I mean, you're a disgraced scientist now, Adele. They probably reassigned your credits already. Dang, you really tried to bribe me, average human. It's like common kitty, but average human. I was about to say, it was the sound off. There should have been glitch sound effects there, but no. Okay, we're down to 3 renders now. Are we actually going to get some, what we were promised this episode now? I guess not.
Sir, it's time.
All these years, and after so much trouble, for one simple creature. And for what? It got caught anyway.
Exactly. What was the point of running? It wouldn't have changed its fate.
Well, like us, it will attempt to survive. It's an animal. It adapts. It will try and try to survive. That's just its nature. Okay, it shouldn't have an apostrophe there. Minor thing. I do like this speech on principle because, you know, it's acknowledging that, you know, these are scientists. They will understand the inherent desire to survive of every living creature. But they're also making a clear distinction because they obviously view Elliot as inferior because, and as an animal, which, you know, it is obviously the distinction that we humans make between how we treat other animals anyway. But actually also, as far as like world history goes, it's also how we've treated marginalized groups over that. There's, you know, like at least in the past, the general attitude was, you know, one of dehumanization. I don't know if that's true for today. Nowadays, it more seems like, you know, they're trying to like prop yourself up superior to other humans versus like trying to dehumanize someone else entirely. If it's a little bit different, but at least back in the day, that was either a coping mechanism or just how certain people were seen, you know, in certain parts of the world at certain points in time. So that's actually a very nice reflection. Again, I wish you could hear it voice acted as was promised, but I don't know. Did did this become a voice actor series like halfway through this episode? I'm still confused, and no one from the Gacha Shipper fan base has actually shown up yet, so I can't even ask them about it as of yet. I guess my only complaint about this particular exchange is the fact that I can't hear it as I was promised to. But reading it is fine, technically. Apologizes. I mean, apologies. Due to this being my second procedure, it's making me think more.
You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be. Avery, I don't want to die. Don't worry, Elliot. Everything's going to be fine. It's going to be quick, I promise you. Oh, that's not entirely reassuring, but okay. And also, wonderful choice of music here as well. Not only does it complement like the distance of the scientists, but also seamlessly goes into like this like fear moment here of like where it seems like it is very much the end. I don't talk about this enough in gacha videos actually, because I talk about like about music and the importance of having music that matches the tone of your scene, and that's absolutely true. But what's a fantastic skill to have in general is the ability to find a piece of music that matches two tonally similar but also distinct scenes and transition seamlessly between them. If you can find one of those, you're either very lucky, very skilled, or both. By the way, we're back up to 4 layers, I guess, of Kai Master. Like a bandage. Yeah, like a bandage. No, Elliot, not like a bandage. Because you're not gonna die. We're getting out of here. Adele, it's over. I forgot Charlie's voice from last episode. I didn't think I'd need it, but yeah. No, it isn't. We're gonna get out of this. She's right. We can't give up. Elliot, just wearing yourself out. I'm guessing it's meant to like be doing like struggles or something. Adele, before we die, I had to tell you something. Before you run away, I always loved you. And that is... Hey! That's right, Charlie. You showed up out of nowhere last episode and you already became a love interest. Congratulations to you on the instant promotion. You're so hot and cute at the same time. I know it's not to make people smile just by being here, and you give me butterflies. You give me butterflies. All you got to do is pass my way and pass me by. I don't remember the whole lyric to the song. Anyway, if you ever make it out of this, would you go out with me? I know that I've complained about the love confessions in other episodes being incredibly abrupt and contradictory. Particularly last episode was painfully egregious. This time, however, I'm going to give Charlie a pass here because obviously she believes like this is the end, right? Like that's why I like made that prediction in the first place. It's a cliche. But it's a cliche for a reason because you want that closure towards the end. And you want to I guess shoot your shot and like in the last moment here. I guess it's also entirely possible that they did this so that Adele could also be paired off with somebody the same way that Elliot and Avery are paired off. Because that just seems to be, the MO for shows like this. I still remember when Maya particularly was clamoring for Reina and Pete to get together because Morwen and Malwick are and Juice and Agatha are, and Reina and Pete are the odd pair out in that scenario. To which I say, like, that's not really the point. And, a relationship between characters would take much more of a connection than just that. Especially because, it's because Reina needs to figure out what she wants in a relationship, first of all. There's a lot to unpack there for her next one. Yes. I bet y'all don't know how long I've waited for this. I mean, Adele and Charlie might. They worked for you, allegedly, but yeah. Which is exactly why y'all have to... You know what? I'm going to change this character's voice. Which is exactly why y'all have to watch everything that's about to go down. I mentioned Common Kitty before. Oh, okay. Oh, title drop there.
Stay away from my tiny human!
Which is not your tiny human in that case, but sure. Also, how did you get in here? You broke in, stole like a rod of some kind. Oh wait, just realized that the glass is broken now. Hold on. Okay with the custom backgrounds. I almost didn't clock that. Not to mention, also, it is actually faded glass, so you can actually see Marcy for a split second behind there, and she was actually appropriately shaded and everything. So, voice acting or not, this is a huge step up in terms of editing. Slightly ruined by the outline black bag, but only slightly. Marcy!
How's this for an apology?
Better than anything. You mean than anything. Thank you, Marcy. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's kind of hard to say in the circumstances that, if someone saved your life, you're going to be grateful to them anyway,
You saved my life, I'm eternally grateful.
But no, either way, you're still, So I guess it depends. These two have had a long enough history that I can see bad blood dissipating between them fairly quickly. I still don't like the reason behind Marcy's change of heart, but once again, Avery gets a pass here from me at least, because I can see that happening. I can imagine if Aiden were here, he'd be freaking out about how easily all was forgiven. But, again, I can somewhat get it, at least this time.
Don't thank me yet, we're still gonna get y'all out of here.
I give Marcy so many different voices. What's the plan?
If we exit through the glass, the alarms will
go off. What do you mean through the... What are you talking about? You just enter through the glass. You mean that there are motion sensors that detect someone exiting, but not entering? And there's no reports the breakage of the glass itself. That didn't set off alarms. None of that was worth it. But you have a gaping hole you've already made and passed through, and you're not going to use it. Not to mention also, motion sensors in general obviously are designed to sense motion. So it doesn't matter which way you're going, it still will be registered in some way. So the alarm should have gone off already on all fronts. Okay, I guess it's gonna sound weird. Me and Marcy take the clothes off the scientists, take Adele and Elliot out of here. I mean, if it weren't for the fact there's a gaping hole we can easily exit through right now, that's not the weirdest plan, but I can see what she means. Although, surely this building would have security cameras that would be able to realize that you've done that, right? Also, security cameras that would have detected Marcy attacking and knocking out those two scientists in the first place. By the way, I would have said this, speaking of the music, go back to the music for a second. I would have changed it when Marcy broke through the glass just now. To something a bit more action-packed, because it was a huge interruption. So music abruptly ending there would have made perfect sense. We'll walk around, and while we do, Elliot and Adele look for vents or any way out. I mean, there's probably vents in this very room, right? So surely they could like use the vents like right now to try to exit, and while they're doing that, you can make your way out the disguise way. It still leaves Charlie, by the way, who probably has had her clearance removed, I would have to imagine, right? Oh, okay, so Charlie got trying to disguise everyone else, even though she was, again, also tied up right now. And again, definitely would have had her clearance removed. There's no way. Got it! Once we leave the town, we'll go to our houses. Oh, no, Avery. This is the third time you have suggested going back to the same house you have been caught in twice before. And this time has been caught there 3 times. But you've like fled and returned twice. Don't go back to your own house. They're probably waiting for you there because they know you're going to show up. They've got a whole campfire with s'mores and everything in their back garden, for crying out loud. We have nothing waiting for us here anyway. Oh yeah, except for the authorities. Apart from them, no one's waiting for you, and nothing could go wrong, obviously. Let's do this. And now, introducing Scientist the Movie. I can't wait to meet you. You're gonna get to finally see Earth. You could move in with us. Is he recording a message to Elliot right now? Is that what he's trying to do? Like send a message over and hope that Elliot receives this somehow? If so, go into the center of your shots. It's like if I recorded like this. Well met, lords and ladies, Jacob Butter speaking. I'm going to do the whole video like this now, obviously. Like, why would you do that? There's a reason that you have like the rule of thirds, and you center yourself, and you have to center yourself in shots as well. That's just like the guidance exists for a reason. I can't wait to hear about everything you've done. Probably leave out the theft, I would imagine. I wonder if you're even out there. At this point, you're the only family I left. Apart from the secret sister, as we just said in the last episode, which, by the way, I talked to the person who's like actually like putting season 2 into motion, and they like the secret sister idea, so that may actually happen in the end. I just hope we're not too late. Yeah, see, we are is correct, but then the you are contraction isn't. Okay, so now we're getting a music video in between this. What is the tone of this, like... Okay, well, I guess I got the credit of the actual song, which, alright, fair enough. Do I mute this? I don't know if I should mute this or not. I might have to, like, mute it, like, in the... Is that how you pack, just taking off, like, a chip from someone's hair?
We were young, posters on the wall, praying we're the ones that the teacher...
Okay, so aside from the fact that the background stayed the same there, I see what you're trying to do in terms of, like, flipping it around on its head, and, like, we actually see inside the locker that we just got, to get some juxtaposing shots. I mean, sure, fair enough.
Wouldn't call. We would stare at each other, 'cause we were always in trouble.
So I guess they don't realize that Charlie has had her clearance removed and that she was also tied up. That was never like an official like message or something, or a reason behind that. I mentioned clearance a lot. I should probably explain that, for buildings like this, you would have like different levels of clearance where you can access like certain rooms or something. And if you try to set different ones, it would like flag them up basically. For the entire building, you'd need like clearance in general. So yeah, I don't know. Okay, that was convenient that you know that that happened to be the vent that he like fell down rather than being caught by someone else. Sure.
I wasn't. They never really cared if I wasn't.
I guess the other thing I should probably also mention is that there seems to be like no one who like knows what the targets look like. And that wasn't some sort of like you know like notification they got or anything. We're just like, oh yeah, by the way, this is a lot that we're dealing with or something. I guess it's somewhat reasonable if they're in disguise and they're not gonna think about that in terms of like they're like looking for them there because they don't know that they have fled just yet. But yeah, in general, you would think you have to like make sure people know what your targets look like. Actually, the only way this might not work, incidentally, is or this might actually like make sense, is if not the entire building is dedicated to the same kind of like you know human resource like that. So like a bigger science building, and everything to do with the humans and capturing them and everything is more of a clandestine operation with inside. I mean, the exterminators are clearly like a legal body, so I wouldn't imagine they would be connected to that. But maybe the lab itself is not it has not fully clued people in because it's also something that is much more secret, which would mean they're able to escape much more easily. That's possibly what's happening here. Okay, I guess are these pictures like them like clearing things out? Or these like just photo albums they've taken? Yeah, this feels like more like a montage of like other moments in the series, but this is nothing to do with them escaping, right? So why is this here in the middle of like the montage of them clearing their things and abandoning things? Unless it's because it's symbolic of like them, you know, leaving their old lives and such. But Adele and Charlie didn't seem that close to what was at any point post Adele becoming human until this episode. So when would that have taken place otherwise? I don't know. Either way, it falls apart. Okay, another thing I'll say is that's very seamless here. I just want to go back and like quickly show again, if I can sync up to the right moment. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, so we've got either some, you know, immaculate masking, or we've got what I'm going to guess has actually happened is props that completely match the scenery. That might be the reason behind it. The multiple layers of Kind Master is the layers of props that they put in the foregrounds and backgrounds to match the landscapes and scenery. So I gotta commend them for that as well, because I can tell you, one of the probably still the most harrowing experience I've ever had working on a gacha series is still that lab scene from the finale of season 2 of Mutant Girl. Not just because of the crashing and everything, but just in general, that like whole 9-minute scene that needs to like take place with all those different like layers. Designed, by the way, so that it could eventually be trashed by Agatha, which is why there were props in the foreground in the first place. But yeah, even so. You know, like. Sorry, are they playing chase inside of a lab they are trying to break out of right now? What is wrong with them? I'm not gonna make it Well, yeah, I don't know. I guess they are researching other things here. So yeah, I guess that sort of explains it a little bit. That not everyone's clued into exactly this. Adele is going to still stand out, certainly because human. But yeah, I suppose for anyone else, right. So, okay, not only have we got like emoji edits and these things, but like also, actually, maybe there needs to be like more of this in gacha music videos. Bear in mind that I don't like watch that many of them, so they very well could be. But yeah, I guess this is actually like way better than having like dialogue over this point, or even silent dialogue for that matter. It's like the happy medium between all those things, so you can actually like keep keep like the word processing part of like a human brain on the lyrics, and the image processing parts and the communication processing part like otherwise for the scene on just the images. I like that. I've said before that I guess I've been like critical of like that idea in the past because I've said before that Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur and Teen Titans Go have one flaw in common, which is that they are both basically like impossible to dub properly. Because the way that those shows are edited, there are a lot of like visual gags on the screen, like speech bubbles with like symbolism or something, or like word puns. Just in general, that kind of editing makes it very difficult for a dubbing process. But for a music video, yeah, that's all those things come together quite nicely. All that is to say, by all means, if you're going to watch either of those two shows, watch them in the original version. And watch this one as intended to.
Back at me from the other side, like you want.
Okay, I understand that. This is Gacha Club, right? Which means that you have the ability to have a character shake their head properly. That's in the game. You can just adjust the rotation. It's very easy. You don't even have to like worry about like in GL, like you were doing GL2, with like the neck being like sort of like out of place or anything. It's trivially simple to do in that sense. So why would you then like have to like contort the character's face to make the shaking the head motion? That's just like that's just extra work for a worse off effect. I also really like. I mean, I guess you could argue that. I also think that the idea of like having to loop these backgrounds and like not having like one that's like a whole landscape something is a little bit of a drawback here. But if you can forgive for a second that they have just like pasted the same backgrounds over and over again, once again adding probably another layer of Kind Master, which it seems like we're only down to 2 at this point in the video. Then I suppose it's somewhat forgivable, and they've also tried to cover up one of them by flipping them so that the brain, it tricks you like they're not exactly the same, unlike the middle row, which is all that will be because of everything. So there's some cover up attempts there. There's definitely, and not to mention there are almost never any sort of like far away shots in a gacha video. Trust me, remember Cherub's Tale and how I had like a whole like freak out about like the original script of it and like the version that I wrote in there versus what Aiden actually put together in the video. Like I had like a whole thing about that. It's because I was referencing a specific like editing technique inside like Prince of Egypt, where as he roams about solemnly like alone, that we start to see him like further and further away in the shot, implants getting more and more lost as time went by, which is the same thing that I was intending to do, but also exploring the different like layers of the underworld as they progressively get worse and worse at the same time, and the scope of how terrible they are and how much they encapsulate gets grander and grander. That was like one of the biggest like visual like visual descriptors or visual storytelling moments, environmental storytelling moments that I've actually ever written in a script. But yeah, like that, and also partly because again, you ever see that you see extreme close-ups all the time because they're great for conveying like bigger emotions and stuff. But far away moments like have their place as well, and this is certainly one of them. Not to mention, they do feel very distinct in the sense of like, especially the middle part with Elliot going like walking across the table, which he probably shouldn't be doing on account of wanting to leave like less of a trace with himself. But it is in line with his characterization anyway to do that, because that's just how he seems to roam about in these wolfish spaces anyway. So it completely tracks. So we have far away shots somewhat covered up, looped backgrounds, multiple movements going on at the same time, and a character who is showing off like who they are through the way they move, which is another thing that's extremely, extremely rare in Gacha. So this right here might be my favorite shot in the entire series so far. And the panic and a zoom in involved there. Okay, I saw back like fade off a little bit there. I rather them they would have been pre-rendered that way. I think each of these backgrounds were pre-rendered separately and then laid on each other and then not pre-rendered again, so you could actually like get so I guess not to lose like the image quality maybe. So I can sort of understand it a little bit, but yeah, it would have been benefited with like from the pre-render so you don't have to see the backgrounds fade beforehand. But either way, love the idea behind this. I wish they'd almost like gone back to like the other version, like gone back and seen it here, but we know this filling room is not involved in there. Was not featured. Which, yeah, filling room. Something projects, failed projects maybe? Admin records, employment, something. I'm not sure. Employment facts, maybe? I think there's an F that's on there. I'm not sure. It's a filing room, not a filling room. Maybe I read that wrong because it's difficult to decipher. Oh, I love the way that the hand like poking there as well on the door. You don't have to like just sync up the arms and everything. That's extremely clever as well. And great use of keyframing there as well. Yeah, one thing that's very difficult to do, I guess, is like, making sure you fade away a background so you can, that it's like, when you've like synced up something already, so I guess that was going to be a little bit clumsy either way. We also could be about to go outside. That might have to happen again. This background will also zoom in towards us and fade. Oh, okay, never mind. Personally, the way that I do those fade background moments is like as soon as they get like too big to actually see all the way through, then I fade them down if necessary, like through a window. If it's just a massive gap or something, just go through until the gap is the gap is like too wide to see anything else around it, and therefore people are tricky to think you pass through it, so you don't have to worry about having to fade something before. I guess the issue is that the walls were further away from the actual entrance in that version, so you would have had to zoom in and then just keep your focus there rather than see the full picture. Maybe that's why they didn't do it there. I don't know. These are the questions. These are the questions I ponder when I see complex edits like this in Gacha. I love this part. And you ruined it. What on earth are you doing? You're going to alert everyone. Marcy, are you still a double agent? Yeah, I'm worried as well, Adele. I'm with you on this. So there are security cameras in this lab. Well, gee, I saw how they didn't capture what's been going on thus far. I feel like if I did a scene that was like an escape from a facility like this, actually having the cameras be like the motif in the montage would be pretty clever. I wonder why this called to him specifically. Once again, another time was like a background actually turning towards something. Again, this is really well set up. I think the Gacha Shipper definitely, at least at this point in her career, definitely had way more skill in editing than in writing. Back to the footarms and stuff. This is a weird portion of this. Also, we changed the chain on Avery's necklace so it was visible on the black clothing. Kind of a strange thing to do if that's the case. And I'll be the one. Yeah, they're still here. Oh, okay. I guess Try it, yeah, I guess you said the correct code.
La 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 la.
Yeah, not surprising they're going to catch you now, because you've been running around the entire facility. Of course, that was going to happen eventually.
I'm not gonna make it alive.
And this was the lab background that I used. Ah, yes. Oh boy, I forgot this was actually in Gacha, because I obviously had to export it and use like and put stuff in the foreground. Wow.
I'm not gonna make it alive.
You know, so I actually use existing backgrounds as like, you know, templates for like how I should like make like walls and stuff. I was doing like the class. I was doing like the classroom before Mini Muse came along. Yeah, something like.
Wow, talk about organized.
Ah, finally! Okay, we now get some 7 minutes and 57 seconds into this video, it becomes voice acted. To which I have to ask, why now? A lot of this video was a musical montage with not required voice acting, so at most you're missing like 4 minutes worth of content. Why not just do it that way? I guess like now you're also like, you know, I guess the difference is that we're not seeing like any sort of like captions or like narrators, the stuff or anything. So now the captions are gone. I guess this is like the replacement. So maybe like in Gacha Shipper's mind, the existing captions negated the need for voice actors. It still seems very strange. Either way, welcome voice actors at last. And Marcy, what do you mean talk about organized? There was almost no one is in there whatsoever. You all lucked out here.
Not even the principal's office is this clean.
I wonder how far back all this
Oh, you're talking about okay, talking about like the actual room itself. The filling room, as I thought it was called.
stuff goes.
Huh?
I mean, like, how old is the oldest file? Like 1944 or something?
I'll tell him as soon as I find him. I promise.
Oh my god.
Did you find something important?
These are the files from my projects while working at this lab.
Is that a bad?
Well, I mean, the file was named like Meguzi or something, so if you recognize the name of it, why would you pick it up if it wasn't like your files for your project? Of course they still keep that stuff. This room is designed for documentation. The shock shouldn't be that the files still exist in here, especially if you picked up the folder with the intention of reading what's inside of it.
Thing? I don't.
That being said, I do like the edit, by the way, of, well, not this edit, but this edit too. But even just like the simple edit of Charlie actually having like, again, the hand over the file there and covering up the actual arm. That's a very clever way of circumventing Gacha's issue with like adjusting arms in like 3/4 point of view to actually hold props, which has honestly plagued the app for quite some time. So yeah, very nicely done there. And here.
Understand. Oh my god. Adele? What is this?
Forget why that is. Why is your... I don't know if this was mentioned like in the lore or anything, but like, did we establish that Wolf's blood was blue? Is that why she's blushing blue right now? I don't know if that was a thing or not, so someone remind me, please.
What's wrong, Charlie?
Charlie! Please don't!
Adele, you are the one who brought up that this was the folder containing your project files to everyone else. If you didn't want them knowing what you were up to, why would you pick up the file? Or the folder?
Why not?
What's in the file, Adele?
Elliot? You need to see this.
He did just ask.
Elliot, please.
Oh no, please don't look at the thing that I specifically draw everyone's attention to.
No, I had no choice. And it wasn't even my idea. You have to believe me.
We all know that you were involved in this, like, your surrogate or something, and you left the project. Everyone knows this about this point, Adele. Why is this a thing now?
You...
Okay, no. You don't get to show that off for a second and then leave it there. Are they gonna read it actually? Let me just see.
You're the reason for all of this?
Yeah, no, okay, no. We're reading this. We're reading this properly. Yeah. Oh, pause to read. Thank you. The pause to read text is too quick to pause to read it for some people. But hey, don't worry. This is why we've got me here. The Meiguzi project was a project led and created by Adele Jasfine. Sorry, the wrong. The following project was about the discovery of Alexander Hale, subject 164, one of the only humans ever caught. That, by the way, so if there's 164 subjects in general, that suggests that a lot of them weren't humans. So once again, giving credence to the idea this lab does other stuff as well. So you know what? I'll retract what I said before about, like, you know, why would they recognize them? Oh, I already did, but I'll retract it further. Anyway, back to us. Subject 164 was thought to have a son, and Professor Adele had believed that the blood inside of a human heart would be given to offspring. Wait, you mean that you believe that humans had a ritual of blood transfusion to their offspring? Or you mean that like a trait inside of another human heart would transfer to offspring? Which I guess that second one is viable, technically, but also a strange way of phrasing it. And you would think that the same would be true for wolves if that was the case. Anyway, though the idea seems small... What do you mean small? I mean small idea. Anyway, it soon made it to corporate and turned into a full-on experiment. The first test concluded of subject 164's blood being taken through a pricked finger and read and into a tested machine/tracking device. Due to all first fails, it was thought that the problem was the machine. This theory was then proven wrong when a wolf volunteer, Ray, gave up their life and their heart was used in the machine, which required a human heart from what we said in the previous page, so why would a wolf sacrifice herself? It says the blood inside of a human heart will be given to offspring. So why would a wolf use her heart or volunteer inside like her to offer her heart as if that would do anything whatsoever? You can technically volunteer to donate your kidneys, but if there's no one if there were no one on the list that would be willing to receive them, and they just get rejected, congrats, you've lost a kidney. Like, what's the point? Anyway, causing the machine to work and see that the volunteer had 3 children. Though all other strings were pulled, there was only one other option. Over the next few days, Professor Adele worked towards getting the experiment to an end, while staff set up the final experiment. Finally, Subject 164's heart was surgically removed by Professor Adele and put into the machine. This led to the proof that Subject 164 had a son. Which, you just said they had 3 children. You had to prove that a subject had a son by removing their heart entirely? Was the Gacha Shipper aware that like DNA tests exist in our world and have done so for many decades at this point? In fact, all like ancestry, like like projects or something, like ancestry websites and things like you're sending your DNA off to, work on this exact principle. Notice how like they usually require, either like a hair or some saliva or some blood in a pinch, literal pinch. But no one is ever sending their heart to ancestry.com to figure out if they're related to to a random celebrity. Like, what are we doing here? Why was that the proof required to the subject had a son? You could have even asked the subject, do you have a son, if you want to cooperate or something, if you want to put some rapport together. How do you even get this theory of removing a human heart will be able to use a tracking device to track down their offspring? And that's what we mean by blood tracking. So you're able to track different types of blood, if they exist, across the world from other samples. But you're telling me you can't do a simple DNA test What are we doing here? Anyway, and luckily, scientists have been able to track and hopefully catch him. Through though the machine and Professor Adele's wonderful idea, I was meant to say through the machine and Professor Adele's wonderful idea, we now have revolutionary technology and a way to easily locate humans. Well, I mean, you could always wait for them to go back to the same house 3 times. That also works perfectly well, but I suppose there you go. That's what he meant by blood inside of a human heart can be given to an offspring. Which, bear in mind, the heart, also, from a biology perspective, the heart is like the conduit, like there's that thing that conducts blood through our system. It's not the direct source of it. It's just simply a thing that like makes sure that it keeps like going around and around. You know, so by that logic, you could use, you know, literally like anything. They even mention a finger in this instance. Why was the finger not enough in this moment? Again, did the Gacha Shipper think that the heart had a specific type of blood inside of it, and that the very organ designed to conduct blood through our system would hoard some of it for itself? I mean, yes, the heart has 4 chambers, you know, some of which, like, you know, either like absorb or pump blood or something, some of which are for the heart itself, but that's also still blood that's going through the same system again, just going back through a different, like, ventricle in this case. So, again, in no way is this, like, viable whatsoever. So no wonder it didn't get go. But I guess I see why, you know, it's a huge reveal for Elliot. I guess we didn't get the full picture before from Adele as to how far things went. She never got around to saying that. But again, if she wanted to conceal this, I still question why she even brought it up. So, you know, again, this is still falling apart.
You're the reason for all of this?
Calm down.
Elliot.
Oh yeah, calm down. Wow. How dispassionate of you, Avery. Like I said now, because I can tell your performance. Calm down. Like, really? Avery, he has the right to be distressed about this.
Listen to me. It wasn't on purpose.
No,
It wasn't on purpose? What, you extracted someone's heart by accident? We just read the file. What do you mean it wasn't on purpose?
one accidentally starts experiments like this, Adele!
Experiment?
Yeah, there we go. See? Exactly. Oh, I guess Marcy wasn't able to read it over the shoulder. Yeah, that's it.
Elliot, what is in that file?
Experiments? What, are you some kind of scientist? Oh, wait, yeah, you are.
It's a little private.
She made
Which is why she talked about everything. Okay. And also, I guess Avery didn't read over his shoulder either. Again, some good restraint, I suppose, from them.
experiments and used by father. If it wasn't for her, he'd still be here. And the scientist wouldn't know I existed.
Are you serious?
Guys, please listen to me. I didn't want.
That's why when we first met, you were shocked to see me? Because you were looking for me before the incident?
Look, I didn't.
Look, everyone would be shocked to see you. It's not even just because of that. Also, I appreciate the fact that like we're moving the scene a little bit here. Again, I mentioned this to Amy. We talked about People episode 2 and about, you know, the use of actual like movement in this instance. And yeah, Adele was like towards like one side of the room, and now she fell over a big corner. So of course she's going to go around and try to address everyone all at once. Fantastic. Not to mention as well, even in this shot, there's still some of a close-up. She still seems small. This is the kind of shot that you were like, if it's a live action, this would be like a top-down shot basically, and so she'd be like angled like over here, so it seemed like even smaller than she actually is. Like we the audience looking down on her. Obviously in Gacha, that's like not impossible to do without like adjusting the backgrounds even further, making them further customizable. Which now that I say that, I might want to play around with someday. But yeah, either way, this still works pretty well.
I didn't know you at the time. I thought.
You thought I was just a rodent? Like every other werewolf here?
I did.
I mean, is that shocking? Again, we all knew that Adele came from this world, and becoming a human was essentially sort of like what was either like the result of her being swayed, or the result of her, or the reason for her being ostracized, and now she understands the struggle. You know, so I don't. I don't. This part shouldn't be too shocking normally, but I will say this does go back to what I was talking about with like the other scene, in terms of the dehumanization of marginalized groups that's happened in real life before. Like, yeah, it's absolutely the same kind of idea. So this is still following on with that kind of theme. It's just it took a very terrible way of getting here. YouTubers probably had to re-upload to fix this, so people are spamming us. Okay. So someone got to the video before I did and pointed these things out. Okay, fair enough then.
I didn't know you, but now I do. You're my friend.
What's the difference? Whether you knew me or not, I'm still alive.
I'm sorry, Elliot.
I'm surprised that he didn't say my father was alive as well. It's a very like hard thing to address with scientists, obviously, because of course scientists in general, like even in our world, they test on animals all the time. Animal testing, I say used to be one of the most contentious points of scientific advancements. A lot of the things that we have learned today, and a lot of like the advancements we've made, have come at the expense of testing on animals. I mean, heck, we tested on humans before it was declared to be like illegal in a lot of contexts. I thought about this before, but the one point that anti-vaxxers never actually point out ever is that the first vaccine was developed by like giving an actual like at the time deadly disease to a 10-year-old boy, and no one brings that up because they don't know about the history of that. The fact is that it worked, and that's when eventually we got like the first ideas of a vaccine, because the disease was cowpox, and then also like giving him smallpox to see like if it was to see if the theory of people who've had cowpox being immune to smallpox was correct, and it turns out it was. That's why that's the word for cow is vaca. That's why the word's vaccine. So yeah, another fun fact here. But yeah, this is this is, I guess, like a mirror of that, because of course in a wolf society, testing on humans is going to be ethical on the same level as our scientists testing on animals, which is to say, highly contested by society, but still something that we allow to continue, basically. In fact, actually, people have said that our views of aliens are similar to how like a lot of like species will view us as humans on the planet. With advancements like far beyond what beyond our understanding, and with the desire to experiment on us. The classic, alien abduction idea that's been prevalent since, I don't know, like the 40s or something. Okay, back to the video now. Rant over, and Marcy, I don't know if you're the person who is specifically going to be the best to step forward and stand by her side right this very second, but I guess we'll see. We'll see where this goes.
Look, we all change, and we all do things we don't mean to.
That flashback should have been like a little bit like clearer, like a little bit on screen for a bit longer. I think some of the things in here are, like they're very well put together, but they are edited in such a way where you have to where it is like a blink or you'll miss it scenario, like the pause to read file from before. So that's actually also, I guess that's why you get like a lot of people like reading things out loud on TV, where you can't pause if something is designed to be aired live, I suppose. So I guess that's taking advantage of the internet, but even then I'd like leave a little bit like longer, actually. I say this knowing full well that I am also guilty of like making edits to videos that I know are not going to be properly explored or seen, because there's some aspects of editing that are supposed to not be seen because you would notice their absence more than you would their presence. These aren't things like that. These are like things that are they're things that like enhance the story in such a way that, you know, you would think that actually drawing more attention to them would actually be better rather than just like serving the environment. Usually the unseen stuff is like for serving the environment around the story. The story itself, that is concerning that, would need to take much more of a focus.
Doesn't change the fact that she is the reason we're all here.
Which you already knew, aside from the father direct and the tracking directly, which also not entirely true. You all you all got captured because you kept on going back to the same location constantly. There was no need even to track you in the slightest because they always found you. In fact, actually, hold on. This sort of like this whole idea of like they could track Elliot this whole time sort of takes away from the fact that Marcy gave their location away in the first place. They wouldn't have needed her to do that if that were the case. They would have found Elliot much faster if they'd actually enacted on this and actually they'd used this Adele's findings from the beginning. Now, the way they could have fixed that is if they specified in the file that they only recently put Adele's findings into action, and only now do they have a way of tracking him, even though they didn't need one because Marcy was there beforehand. That would have been the way to also have her surprise make much more sense, because you've been like, okay, let's check to see like where my project has gone in my absence. Oh my God, you know, this has became so much worse than I'd imagined, or they put the pieces together that I hoped they wouldn't. That would have made more sense than just like, oh, these are my project files, and that's it, you know, versus like, you know, here's like the advance with them. That would have like fixed pretty much everything in this scene, and also would have been a reason why she wouldn't want them to like, you know fully, even though she still drew attention to it. I guess that part's all got to get fixed. All right, fair enough. Special, finally. I was about to say, I've been like out of the loop of this. I was thinking like, oh, please someone come and like give me some insight on what's been going on behind the scenes with this. But we've gone past the point where I was more confused before. But either way, welcome.
If you want, I'll give you the code to the door and never bother you again.
Oh, I thought she gave him the code already in the montage. I guess she said she knew the code.
No, Adele, you don't.
What are you waiting for?
I suppose that does complicate the love confession we just had before. Okay, pretty nice side facing actually. Okay, now we're in Wii Sports. Okay. Oh wait, no, Wii Sports wouldn't have arms. I forgot Mii's didn't have arms for ages for some reason. Okay. I mean, that's kind of a shame there, but you could like zoom in a bit further, or like just include the rest of the arm next time, please. Maybe do like, I don't know, we've got like front facing and side facing. Do we have back facing in here? Maybe.
Elliot, please know I'm really sorry about what happened.
Adele, please! Don't go! I can't live without you!
I mean, that's definitely, you know, we did just find out about a love confession. I guess it goes like deeper than that. Also, she hadn't moved yet.
If you don't stay, then I'm coming with you!
Charlie? No, you're staying here. Let go.
Why is Charlie staying here? Everyone else is leaving. I know that they don't know about Charlie's clearance being removed or something, but they're going to find out eventually. Again, we went past the camera room. We know that they track this kind of thing. As soon as they find out, well, oh my goodness, that their prisoners have escaped, let's, you know, what happened to the scientists? They're going to ask the other scientists that are still knocked out and electrocuted right now, thanks to Marcy. And that they're also going to question why they just go back through the glass already, because, you know, they wasted so much time with this. Or they're going to just check the cameras and find out all this stuff anyway. So there's no good reason that Charlie would stay here anyway. If they're all going to leave, they might as well either go their separate ways, like they're going to do right now, and have Charlie join Adele, or just. Or just like or just like all leave together like they're going to do anyway. Why would Charlie in any circumstance stay here?
Sorry.
That does answer, by the way, why we didn't see that when Fade 2 outside when we went to the library before. This was the final moment. Yeah, that makes sense.
I guess they finally realized we escaped.
Oh, wow, look at that. So you didn't go through the glass that was right behind you before for fear of triggering the alarms, but you wasted so much time going around the entire facility that the second you import like the correct code, it triggers the alarms. Wow. It's almost like we could have avoided that entire scenario. And yes, it did lead to my favorite shot in the entire series thus far. That doesn't matter. Like I've said, if you can go for visuals or story, always pick story. And if you introduce the idea that someone can break in through glass, and for some reason, by sheer contrivance, not be able to escape, you better skedaddle pronto from that location.
Time to go!
Nice running. I'm sorry, what was that? I'm going to put this at max volume. I'm even going to increase my volume on my actual PC. What did she say?
I'll tell him as soon as I find him. I promise.
I'll tell him as soon as I found his something. I promise. Is what I heard. Oh well, the flashback to what just happened. A flashback to a montage of including like other album moments. Was that the reason why we got those in there, by the way? To remind us, the audience, of like what they've all been through together to make the breakup seem like much more tragic in general. So once again, a visual at the expense of the story. Because that was the one part of the montage I didn't like, was all of the album moments in there. Oh, only one Kind Master logo now. We've been reducing them slowly, but surely.
Okay, is everyone good on the plan?
Yes!
By the way, this is another example of them like looping an image here, but at least it's sort of being somewhat covered because they're still like all shaded together and sort of all blended.
Then let's do.
Which, yeah, I guess this is definitely the record of most characters in a scene, technically.
Do this. Everyone to your stations.
Oh, okay, wow, yeah, not only that, but also them all moving. Yeah, no, this is, yeah, okay, definitely the record there. That's fantastic. And they phased through the walls. They ruined it. Okay, they phased through the walls. Right, every time I say something positive.
What if this doesn't work?
It will work. This plan is amazing.
Well, you two have come a long way. Let's blow up that planet and leave nothing but ashes.
Hey, would you two want to go to the new restaurant down the street when we get back to Earth?
I think that's the first time I didn't hear you talk about work. I'd love to.
You know I can't pass down food.
We all know you can't.
Yeah, this definitely seems like a case of like, oh yeah, hey, should we plan to do this thing after we do, you know, this other thing? Yeah, we're all gonna survive to get there. It's like a classic a story like screenwriting technique, by the way, of like, yes, once we get back, we're gonna do this exact thing, and I sure hope that nothing tragic befalls one of us. Whenever you hear characters making like very concrete plans after they get through like a certain trial, it stands to reason that either one of them, those characters, is going to die, several of them are going to die, or we're supposed to fear they might die because they might not like get like that sort of like mundane goal they wanted after this thing. That's usually the circumstances behind that. You can even say that's the same thing I think in the Owl House, actually. You know, where Luz promises Amity a real date, like a mundane slice of life date, right before the finale, where like everything sort of like goes to pot, especially because because, they end up being trapped inside the human realm instead. At which point, I assume they had their slice of life date at some point in the downtime between trying to get the portal back together, reactivated. I imagine that happens sometime there. But either way, a classic case of we're going to do this thing, hope nothing bad happens, something bad happens. Usually it's death, but in that case, it thankfully wasn't. I thought there would have been riots in the streets if one of those characters died.
Sir. Anywho, I have to go land the ship and make sure everything goes well.
That also suggests that he has not told them about the reason why they're going, which is to retrieve his nephew. So once again, another circumstance where not everyone inside a facility is entirely clued into what's going on.
She's right,
Well, what else am I supposed to talk about at work?
I wasn't talking about that. I was talking about when she said you've come so far. On your first day at the office, you blew up the screening boards in the military department. And the old CEO couldn't stop yelling. And now you're leading missions, having meetings with both houses of Congress, going to other planets, and you're the owner and CEO of the largest space company in the entire world.
Yet somehow all my family's dead. And I sent my brother, sister-in-law, and my nephew to a death planet.
Grace and your brother wanted to go, didn't they?
Even if they did, I shouldn't have let them go. Like not stopping someone from jumping off a building. I knew it was dangerous, and I knew it was a huge risk. But I let them go anyway.
Doesn't make you...
I mean, that's technically because, obviously they had the autonomy to decide that, and I guess, if you want to protect your family, if you're in that position, you can't really show favoritism, but they're the most qualified. That's definitely a tough position to be in, actually.
You the bad guy.
Well, you should go. You also have to make sure this whole ship lands.
Prepare for landing. If you or anyone you know has to help land the ship, please send them on their way.
Okay, mildly clumsy announcement, but not a bad one necessarily.
You heard the speaker, pretty boy.
I'll see you when we save the world, beautiful.
When you save the world? They just suggested blowing it up.
Just hang on a little longer.
Which, by the way, a good increase of the stakes there, and also chance of mutiny later. That, to say okay, everyone that we've come to root for is now in danger from them, even though it seemed like it was a simple rescue mission before. So the thing that was an apparent source of safety for them might actually not be. That's pretty clever, I must say.
Okay, remember, scientists already know what we look like, meaning we have to be careful when it comes to phase 1.
Oh, really? They know what you look like. Well, sure would have been a shame if you ran across the facility and interacted with multiple people. Maybe that's how they learn what they look like. Maybe that was what gave it away. I don't know.
Our stuff.
And if they do see us?
If they catch you, don't run back here. That'll lead them to Elliot. Instead, run to the old...
Oh yeah, don't run back to the same given location we've always been to before. I wonder who would do such a dumb thing. Avery. Anyway, this is also where I would have changed the music as well, by the way, because it's more lifting up a new plan, basically. So,
old lighthouse on Pinkberry Mountains, then run up the stairs and lock the door.
Then how do we get down?
There's a
So you had another safe location this whole time, and you have never mentioned it to us before ever because, once again, this is definitely a case of not scripting out your series and not going back to check if you contradicted yourself. By the way, what's going on with that dune behind? It seems like there was some part that was actually rubbed out. I think there was actually part that was supposed to be erased in the background there, but it's so slightly left in.
Out of there on the railing. Don't worry.
I have the drawings though.
Charlie?
Adele should be with us. We shouldn't have left her.
I mean, you didn't really leave her. You just ran off in a different direction to her. She's separated from you. That being said, that is a beautiful shot as well.
Everyone has a past.
Though I have no room to speak, some things are too terrible to forgive.
What if she got...
I was about to say that. Hold on, wait, Marcy, you were the one who was defending her in the filing room. You stood beside her and said and urged Elliot to at least like consider forgiving her, like not to like not to give up on her basically. So why the sudden change of here being like, oh yeah, something's too terrible now? I mean, yes, what she did was definitely more terrible than the stuff that you did. Not that I believe that was even possible, but why the change of heart now from before?
Spotted, or worse, captured.
Get back here!
Okay, that was some pretty good action there. The turning around of the corner, and I believe also there are different layers here, because what you have to do in this circumstance is you have to have someone like behind there, but so that the wall is there. You'd have to like change the layering that the character is on in the keyframe, or anything else so they can go in front of it. All of that while having one KineMaster logo, which means it must have been done with multiple layers in the same project. I think this is. I think this might. The lack of KineMaster logos here might actually show that the Gacha Shipper was actually learning what I was suggesting in this very episode. We've gone from having like a few weird like layering issues with like the rendered scenes and everything to being able to use multiple layers in one given track to great efficiency all at once. And while the character's being blasted as well in actual proper bullet time for animation rather than, the slowed effect you get with a lot of gacha stuff.
Get back here!
What do you mean just hopped on here? I saw a message from you over 10 minutes ago. What are you talking about? 15 minutes ago, you last message here. I mean, just hopped on here. I see you. But how's the episode going? Well, as usual, there are a number of things that are very wrong with it. But overall, I can actually sort of see. Fair enough. But I can understand why this has such a long runtime now. There are definitely this is definitely the most ambitious episode so far, and a lot of that ambition is paying off in a major way that enhances what's going on. It still has a rocky it's still the rocky foundation occasionally, especially when it comes to the manufactured drama involved in this. But either way, we're getting somewhere with this. We're getting somewhere. The stakes feel bigger. The scope of what's being done feels grander as well, and is grander because of what we see here. And there's definitely more thought put into this now than before.
Good for nothing, bench riders.
Logo.
At least I got my food. Now I just need to gather some things and then I'm ready to leave this wretched town.
See, this almost would have been like a scenario where, like, Adele gets a sense of like what Elliot felt like and what she put him through, except for she's already been through that because we established that when she was introduced. Oh yeah, go back in your scientist clothes, back to your school locker.
Where have you been? You said you were going to the store.
Well, I was at the store, and then I remembered I had some errands to run.
What errands?
I mean, most people say they're going to the store to run errands.
I was just getting some food, and then I saw the can aisle, and I remember there's a canned food drive for school, and then somebody spilled food on me, so I bought a new shirt, and I wanted to watch a TV to clean these clothes, and then after that I saw some friends from school, and they invited me to the mall to hang out. It's been...
Okay. That's probably my favorite performance so far in this one. Like, that like panic sense there. Normally Gacha voice actors like way too quick when they read their lines the first time anyway, but in this case, whoever's Marcy's VA here obviously knew how to read this like in a panic and deliberately go fast and enunciate everything at the same time and make that line sound funny at the same time and make it convincing that this was like all like a string of thoughts coming together, spitballed in the moment. Now that is voice acting.
This is a crazy week, I'm just gonna go to my room and get some rest.
Well, don't think you're...
Oh no, guess I'm grounded. Here's my phone. Bye, Mom.
I guess you can't really, contact anyone else now, but sure.
Wait, who? Food drive? Washitiri? Grounded?
I don't even know if a washitiri is an actual thing or not. Is that a thing?
Have a kid, they said. I swear, teenagers these days.
That was close.
I wonder if that photo is going to get a close-up shot in a second. In the left corner. Oh, it's not. Okay. They probably should have all like taken turns actually to go and collect stuff rather than leaving Elliot completely alone.
Adele, come look. People do change. I mean, Jamie changed and Marcy. Why can't Adele?
What do you mean? Oh, right, saying like, why can't she? In terms of like, you know, why didn't I think of that before? Not why is she incapable of doing that? Because she is, clearly.
I messed up. I have to go back and find her.
Okay. I've said it before, you know, that like, you know, in terms of VAs, you know, like, I'll say half of us struggle with fake crying. That circumstance there, it feels like someone was trying to like find a way to like fake cry properly. They were like doing like the thing like into their hands or something, as he like sounded like muffled, which is why it was fantastic that Elliot's mouth was kept shut during that whole entire exchange. So it seems like he himself was also holding back in that scenario. So that's a good case of somebody listening to the audio and using and syncing up to the visuals accordingly. Very nice.
Oh, hey! Sorry, are you okay?
I'm good.
Don't worry, I packed us plenty of ice cream and a comfy blanket.
Oh.
How do you pack? You packed ice cream? What is wrong with you? That's gonna. You're at the beach right now, it seems. That's gonna melt immediately.
Okay. Great.
I do love that we know he's like looking across like the city.
One of them was walking down Kai Avenue.
Oh, right. I forgot about this character with the wonky eye. What is going on? I still...
Well, which one of you...
Ma'am, please try to relax. We're doing everything we can.
Wait. So, hold on a second. So, they're indicating that there's like... They're running across like the city, basically. So, they have surveillance in the city. I'm guessing that what that means is that the monitors behind them are for like internal surveillance of the building. And they have others on this... on like, you know, that side that are external surveillance across the city in case they can track humans that way, which I guess they're allowed to do. Once again, there's not too much reason to keep this whole clandestine operation if the government's just fully okay with what they're doing.
Which one?
Green-haired female, named Marcy Sinahan, height is average, 8 feet, lives with her mother on Young Drive.
Is she important?
I do. Okay, that's interesting. The detail of like her being like average height, but still saying 8 feet. Obviously, we know that wolves are taller than humans, like everything's scaled appropriately. But now that I think about that, that would mean they probably have their own unit of measurement, right? Or all like the imperial measurements that they would have like adapted, including feet, would have been like adapted to, you know, like their their proportions, right?
Well, she electrocuted 2 people. One was important, but the other one was just a guard.
Oh, wait, no, so, wait, she still electrocuted people? Is that on the avenue, or was that the people that, the 2 scientists before? Well, I guess one scientist and guard, maybe I misread that.
I asked if she was important. Those 2 people can easily be replaced.
Well, I suppose she...
I appreciate the dual reaction from those 2. In fact, actually, wait, hold a second. I'm just go back for a second. Oh, okay, no, that's the same expression on the lady back there. But either way, those 2, I've always said, acting as reacting.
2 people can easily be replaced.
Well, I suppose she is. She's the whole reason they escaped.
Sorry, it had to pause for a second because it was out of sync.
Get her.
It's sad to think how much I put into this place. But this isn't my home. Not anymore. I know how much I put into this place. The first time I entered those doors...
Okay, the 2 lines repeating put into this place and put into this place should have been changed somehow, or one that should have been removed. We didn't need both of them.
My first customers. And now it's all to an end. I'm sorry sorry, but I must begin a new life.
In fact, actually, you know what? You know what I'm going to say? We don't need any words for this scene whatsoever. This is definitely this video's avoided this so far because you know they've used their visuals so efficiently. But this is definitely an example of tell don't show. So hold on. Apparently Ash is there so but she has her eye twitching sign. She got powers secretly. I see. Okay, fair enough. All right, but here, let's just play the scene again and completely mute it and just imagine what's going through her head. Okay, it doesn't entirely work the way I envisioned because she's still saying these things out loud for some reason. If it should have been like in her head, basically, like we saw before with Elliot. But yeah, if she were like talking and like changing poses, basically, you would get the same idea. Let me use a better example then. There's an exchange in Mary Poppins that is simply where Mr. Banks thinks he's getting fired from his job at the bank, and because of the events that happen in the movie. So he's essentially, there's a whole extended sequence of him just walking, across these different like locations and the different like paths we've seen either in the movie or just in general that we know on his way to the bank. And it's just the shots of him walking, but the symbolism behind that and the way that he walks and the way the music enhances this, he fully believes that he is about to get fired. And the thing about Mr. Banks in Mary Poppins is that his job is like basically like everything to him. It's the classic scenario of like my job first, and turns out the thing I mean the whole time with my family, that kind of thing. But he's so bought into this idea and what the bank represents and everything, and how much has shaped his own worldview, that he is fully embracing the moment that he is going to have to abandon a huge part of himself that he has been involved with probably for the vast majority of his life. And also, like, part of it is, he sees, like, the bench where, when he goes, he gets there, there's a bench where the old lady used to be, and it's sort of implied that she might have died. And there's the whole thing about, like, investing for the future versus living in the moment, as his son Michael was able to do, instead of investing his tuppence, was the whole reason that led into that scene in the first place. But that all that is, there's no words during that moment there, because there doesn't need to be words. We get that sense from everything we've experienced in the movie thus far, and just the sense of like how much we know about Mr. Banks and how we can equate that to anything in our lives. And here's somebody else who is similarly having to abandon a part of their lives. It's the same idea as someone graduating from a school and the scene where they're looking upon like the halls for the last time. Like maybe the school's like empty or something, or moving house. All their stuff has been packaged and taken away because it's already on the way or something, and they've just collected like their last things. And a lot of sitcoms end this way. They turn around, they take one last look at the set that most likely dominated the whole sitcom, because most sitcoms are filmed like mostly on the same sets as each other. So we get like that final sense of like, wow, this is this is it. I may never see this face before. This room that I used to see every single day. And once again, those things don't need dialogue in there. So that's a very long-winded way of saying that we don't need like a speech of Charlie in this moment. I know I said that Charlie that Charlie showed up out of nowhere in the last episode, and I stand by that. But even without like much to do with her, like we get it, don't we? I feel like I feel like that would have come across.
Or where my friends aren't hunted down and I don't almost go bankrupt.
By the way, unrelated, but I have to imagine that having a bow in your ear like that as a wolf is going to be incredibly uncomfortable. Oh, she gets a photo.
Sis. How?
Okay, that part might have. Oh wait, no, never mind. No, this is going to find her. In that, if that's the case, then we don't need that either, because we're going to see her in a second.
Could I forget? I have to say goodbye to Jennifer.
Charlie?
Jennifer! Look, I have to leave town forever. I knew I had to
This is where I would have had her start talking for the first time.
say goodbye to you.
What? Forever? Where are you going? Why are you leaving?
I'm sorry. I can't say why or where. I wish I could give you more answers, but if I do, I could put you in danger.
In danger? What are you talking about? What did you do?
I'm sorry, Jennifer.
Folks in the conversation, please remember it. I mean, I'll try, but remember, I watch these videos, a week apart from each other. So even if I try to remember this now, and I've watched like several other things in between, it might not stick. So I'll do my best. But either way, again, the idea is that she's got to leave and she'll put Jennifer in danger if she says anything, which is fairly standard anyway. But all right.
Will I ever see you?
And that's a nice thing of an actual convincing hug in Gacha, which is very difficult to actually apply. That was again fantastically done. And also a warping of the existing Gacha backgrounds, which, I might actually do more of in the future myself if this is how it can come across. The only issue is that it's been scaled up super high to avoid having to deal with the ceiling or anything, or questioning other proportions around it. But even the sofa does not look like it's actually that squished, which is, once again, pretty impressive.
Look at... Can I call you? I don't want to lose you.
I don't know if that's possible. I'll be able to call you, but you can't call me. I'm sorry.
There's some good strategy right there. I guess once you get a secure location, make sure you use different communications because she's going to stay there. But all right, that tracks. I will try to remember those moments of the conversation. The fact she's leaving town forever. That she's the only way was to call her, and she can't give Jennifer any details. Which all that stuff seems fairly straightforward to me. But sure. By all means.
Hurry, apply all thrusters. We've already applied half the thrusters and it's done nothing. So apply all of them. And get on radio station 13 to tell them to pull out navigation charts. Yes, ma'am.
Brace.
I guess they weren't accounting for the increase in gravity here. Maybe.
Really did it.
Okie dokie. And once they actually finally arrive, and we know that some of them don't have the best intentions for the wolves after all. Now that is how you increase the stakes. Like I said before, I like the fact that there's a sense of they're not all on the same page surrounding this mission. Or the outcome after it. Are they planning to retaliate in a major way? And that puts more people in danger than them being the apparent safety that we were somewhat promised. Not to mention that once again, they're on the run, so they're going to have a bit of their work cut out for them to even find them in the first place, which gives them time to figure out, what their actual plans are going to be in the first place. So yeah, I think we went from possibly the worst episode in the entire series to what I would venture to be probably the best. From an editing perspective, it is absolutely the best. It kind of feels like the jump between The Guardians early season 1 versus late season 1, when like Prism took like a break for a year and came back stronger than ever, and with a whole different like editing style. Like this almost felt like an entirely different show from one episode to the next. Obviously, from the continuity wise, like it definitely feels the same, and from the way the story is written, it 100% feels the same. We're not it's not we're not miracle workers here or anything. And yeah, let's just out of all, there's still some things that felt like they were still very contrived. The ways that they keep separating the characters, like Avery's never addressed again schizophrenia episode, still bothers me for a number of reasons. And now the increase in like the stakes of like Adele's involvement in the first place. They knew part of what she was up to, but she herself picked up the file and addressed it and showed it to everyone. She mentioned it and then begged everyone not to see it as well. Which, why would she even do that? So it feels like they have like the manufactured drama between the existing characters is definitely something that is still troublesome in the series. Not to mention pretty much unnecessary at this point. If we didn't have the Adele separation moment, they would still have to be on the run now. They still need to clear out their old areas. That conversation you said was important still would have happened, and we still would have had the uncle and everyone and the humans actually landing and increasing the stakes by threatening to blow up the planet, or one of them threatening to blow up the planet. And we still would have seen Astra mention like how expendable certain people are, and then them realizing that okay, they're gonna use Marcy as their beacon now. Despite the fact that we established in this episode they have a way to track down humans and Elliot specifically, thanks to the research that was pointed out for drama purposes. So surely they would just use that to track Elliot again. In fact, none of the main characters seem to be bothered by the fact that they know Elliot is traceable now, and they know that that people are able to do that, and have taken no precautions, and they left him completely alone while they went to collect their things. That's what I mean, where the more you think about the plot of any given episode of My Tiny Human, the worse it gets. So that's important to remember behind the bells and whistles of the editing. Definitely, obviously, be wowed by it for sure, but make sure it doesn't obscure what you're actually seeing on screen, what you're experiencing, and what you're actually, and what's actually being conveyed to you, both through showing and telling. Just that's the caution I would issue out to anyone watching any piece of media at all, because that's how you form your opinions about it. But yeah, I guess those are really my opinions, and we'll see. One last thing, I suppose the runtime made sense here. It wasn't, first of all, because it wasn't all fully voice acted. But even if it weren't, it still feels like a complete episode where it's like, oh yes, they're breaking out of the lab. That's like the whole thing here. They've been brought here. They're going to break out. They need to figure out what they're going to do, and they're going to continue afterwards. And the stakes are going to increase and everything. And yeah, the 20 minutes did not feel like it was tacked on just for the sake of voice actors. Their voices felt like a very very nice and relevant addition, much like the rest of the editing and the other enhancements involved in here. And not to mention that we got some pretty great performances, especially because they're dealing with heavy material right off the bat. I gotta commend the VAs of this as well, actually. especially Marcy in that panic scene. You know, this is definitely a series where you need a cast who's able to pull off comedy and tragedy. And from this episode, we sort of like lean most on the tragedy side of things, so it's not as evident yet. But if Marcy's an indication of what to go for, it seems like they succeeded. So I guess this episode editing. Oh, so wait, this episode's only different. So are we going to go back to the way it was before with the other episodes? Maybe. Oh, the other thing about this as well, I'm hoping this doesn't carry through the montages. Again, favorite shot in the series is definitely there. I appreciate the artistry behind it, but like the photo album moments that felt unnecessary until I realized they were a contrived way of getting us to, you know, be more sort of like the breakup of the group once again, even though they just got back together again. This group is very dysfunctional in like how they actually stay with each other, and that they're all supposed to be like in a survival scenario. They really haven't like got that through their heads yet, have they? But yeah, like it didn't make. But even though the montage was like very like creatively impressive and everything, it still served no purpose because they avoided exiting through the gaping hole in the glass and having the alarms triggered a second later to exiting via the front door with a more dysfunctional group and the alarms being triggered off. Like, what was the point of all of that? So yeah, that's the thing. When you're editing something like this, you got to consider like what's the point of the edits. You should never like do things simply because they would look cool and not concern yourself with like the larger story you're telling, especially when it's getting like this intense and with this far down the pipeline of the series. I feel like Royale Fairy Academy fell into this like in a much greater degree than My Tiny Human. My Tiny Human feels like, even though it has the issues and it has its drama contrivances and it has its plot holes and everything, it still feels like the same story behind it. Royale Fairy Academy almost feels like an entirely different show, an entirely different story every single episode. And yet, the visuals are the things that get the most focus and everything behind that. It feels like it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to do like this very cool thing. So whatever needs to happen to get the characters here is going to happen, and that's it. So, similarly to how some people like do story beats, like, oh, I want this event to happen. I don't care about the rest of like the journey there. And that's not what we're seeing here. So by all means, once again, it could be much, much worse. It could be episode 7. But there's still areas of concern here, regardless of the ultimate improvement. So once again, don't watching this nowadays, not back in 2022, but watching this nowadays, make sure you remember that going forward with this, But once again, I'm Elise. That this episode did, if nothing else, it may be the most curious for a future episode out of any of the other ones we've seen thus far. So, it's got to have done something right or multiple things right if that is the case. So yeah, we'll find about that in a week's time, and hopefully I'll recall that conversation. But regardless, please leave a like or dislike because your opinion matters, and subscribe if you've done so already. And on that note, until next time, farewell.